Hey, Jen here. Give me a second. I'm going to open something up. Hopefully, everything operates as it should today. Welcome. God bless you all. All are welcome here, no matter what faith, gender, skin tone, ethnicity, nationality you are, no matter what sports team you root for or what side you vote for. Everyone here is welcome. So this happened pretty quickly. If you were here for any of the recent streams, you should know then what I'm talking about, but I will elaborate. I am right now making the chat a pop out so that I can read what's going on in it. Oops. Now I'm going to share the screen with you, so give me a moment to pull it up for you. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a Bible verse. Hold on, though. Please don't. I'm going to then hold, please. I'm going to point to current events, okay? So this is scripture, prophecy, and current events, but it's also a word that God recently gave me. I don't want to say I told you so, but God advised us that this was coming. He always warns his people. So we're going to go to 8:23. Give me a second here to get there. Now, some people might want to read before that, but this is where I want to start. So just give me a second. Okay, so in the latter time of their kingdom, when the transgressors are come to the full, that means sinners, people who are good with sin, people who want to harm other people and are good with doing harm to other people. Oh, see, I popped the chat out and then it disappeared on me. So I will mess with that later. I don't want to goof any of this up. Okay, so and in the later time of their kingdom, when the transgressors are come to the full, when all of the wickedness has when the cream rises to the top and you see what's going on, the latter time of their kingdom, the end of their kingdom. Whom does that sound like now? Sounds like America. So again, I told you this was coming, and I don't mean I told you so. God told me, I told you. God told a lot of us, but 2 videos ago, I said like literally this was coming, and it came pretty fast. And I'm telling you that not to puff myself up. It's not about me. It is to tell you how quickly the things that we are being warned about are coming to fruition. That means the quickening is quickening even more. Okay. So, in the latter time of their kingdom, when the transgressors are come to the full, a king of fierce countenance, right? He, like a lion, he's aggressive, he's, fearsome, um, like a lion. I don't even know how else to say it. And understanding dark sentences shall stand up. Understanding dark sentences, meaning understanding the dark arts, understanding dark prophecies, okay, of the other side. You have to think, just like Christ is a Messiah and a hope and a template, I believe, that we are supposed to follow for the children of the Most High God, the other side has the same thing, right? So their Messiah is going to be, they believe, their deliverer. And for a time, this will be allowed to occur because most things are balanced that way in the universe as far as positive and negative energies exchanging. But we'll get into that a little bit later. Now it says, and his power shall be mighty, but not by his own power. It won't be anything by his own authority. Okay. And he shall destroy wonderfully. He's going to be such a good destroyer that it'll look that people will probably cheer for it. And you see what's happening now. And he shall prosper and practice and shall destroy the mighty and the holy people. And through his policy, also he shall cause craft to prosper in his hand, and he shall magnify himself in his heart. He'll start puffing himself up, right? I don't need God. Look at what I'm doing for these people. These people love me. Look at how they clap for me. Look at how they stand for me. I'm a rock star. No, I'm bigger than a rock star. G-D, right? So just bear with me. And again, if you understand the way that I'm speaking, please give the video a thumbs up. The channel will never be monetized. That helps me to know I'm explaining these things and relating them in a cohesive, comprehensive manner, easy to understand manner. So, and the vision of the evening and the morning, which was told, is true. Wherefore, shut up thou vision, for it shall be many days. So, Daniel was so sick over all of this, he fainted. Now, we'll come back to the prophecy, but I have to point to what I saw yesterday. And when I saw this, let me just lead up to this a bit. When I saw this, I knew upon seeing it, number one, I could watch no more news that day. As soon as I saw this yesterday, I said, I've got to shut everything down and I just have to contemplate in my head and heart and meditate on this and talk to God, because it made me I got angry. I'm not going to lie. But again, not angry to do harm to anybody, like indignation, like righteous anger, like Jesus in the temple, which people don't even realize. I'm sorry, but that is, if you look at that scene and you visualize it in your mind, what does that look like if you saw it today? It looks like activists freeing animals from extermination or experimentation centers, okay, where they are sacrificing the animals to give something to man and basically wasting what is, long story short, that's what you should be relating that to, okay? And I tell you that for a reason, because that's where that indignation, like, how dare you do this in my father's house, exchange these shekels for this, instead of just ceasing with your sin, okay? Another thing is, why would they add 1,000 years to the calendar? Why would they do that? Number one, so that you think Christ is not coming and you give up on him. Number two, so that when you read books and history books and text, or if you would find any history books or texts that they didn't want you to find and you would read them, they want you already to perceive those people as being lower than and less than yourself. They want you to think of them as being dumbed down and less wise than you. I think that they had most of the technology. Well, I mean, there's nothing new under the sun. They had it all, right? But mankind was just unaware of it, and then they hid it again. All right, so when I saw this yesterday, I knew that I could not look at any more current events. I could not look at any more news, because, and again, they're not going to tell you about this. I don't know if there was any videos done on this. I don't know. I avoided YouTube yesterday like the plague, because when God puts something on my heart and then when it happens, I get nauseous. I've talked to you guys about this before. I'm getting nauseous right now, and it's probably going to be like this until this whole video is over. So I apologize. Yeah, so let's look at this, because I don't think anyone's going to cover it, and if they do cover it, they're not going to show you what's important, and they're not. I don't think they're going to. Again, everything's the opposite, and people who aren't reading things aren't aware of what's actually happening, because they're selling it in a different direction. Okay, so I'm going to show you this first. Do I want to show you on Wikipedia? This is called FACE. It's the Freedom of Access to Clinic Entrances Act. Hold on, though. Strong pause, strong hold. Give me a second. This is not all that it is. This is very misleading, this title. You got to actually get in there and read it. So I'm going to share it with you and show it to you. Freedom of Access to Clinic Entrances Act. It's called FACE. Now, it's supposed to protect people outside of abortion clinics and in religious buildings or temples or institutions. That right there should tell you a lot. So let's dig into it briefly. It should not take us long at all. Right here, between the years 1978, that's when I was born, and 1993, 1994, 95 was when I met my spouse. Again, all of this has such a personal, shine to it, and I don't like that. So I'm going to get rid of one of these. Make sure everything is still up and running good for everybody. Awesome. All right, here we go. I'll share this tab. So the Freedom of Access to Clinic Entrances Act. May 26, 1994, it's number 103 through 259. 108 is the I don't even know how to read that properly. Statutory status, state. I'm not good at bills. Again, I look to God and I try to keep it simple. I just try not to common sense, right? So let's learn together. Is a United States law that was signed by Bill Clinton in May 94, which prohibits the following. I met my spouse in August. 3 things. 1, the use of physical force, threat of physical force, or physical obstruction to intentionally injure, intimidate, interfere with, or attempt to injure, intimidate, or interfere with any person who is obtaining a Moloch sacrifice. Okay? They're the tiniest saints. They're not sacrifices. I'm not giving them to him. Okay, so this is a good act, right? This is preventing people from being harmed. However, it's specific to this act. Now, this should show you, if nothing else proves that these sacrifices are religious in nature, I don't know what will. This is a religious battle. The book series that I got to read you guys, Sinister Forces, it's called A Grimoire of American Political Witchcraft. It all started in the hills of Appalachia, guys. The colonialists, they were not the good ones. They came here for religious freedom of a different kind. It wasn't Christianity. They said it was, but if they were of us, they would have never went out from us. Oh, this is just gives me such a bad feeling. 2, the use of physical force, threat of physical force, or physical obstruction to intentionally injure, intimidate, interfere with, or attempt to injure, intimidate, or interfere with any person who is exercising or trying to exercise their First Amendment right of religious freedom at a place of religious worship. So this minimized attacks. And again, the law doesn't prevent most criminals from acting like criminals, right? The law protects the law abiders when their rights are superseded, when they are harmed. So oftentimes, no, laws won't stop people. However, we are dealing with a spiritual battle. And again, I just proved it. I just showed you it was religious in nature. Okay? Please, please, please stay. Don't just shut the video off and run away. I'm not special. I don't explain things in an eloquent way. I'm not a posh YouTuber. I don't have a sponsor. It's not about me. But maybe help me a moment to try and feel like I am being useful to the human race and that I am helping my fellow man and American citizen. I am a patriot, but I am a child of God first. All of us came here allegedly from other lands. Most of us don't know the truth of our roots. Especially in this time, those of us that are left don't know our roots. We are easier to manipulate that way when you're not aware of your sovereignty. Each one of you is a nation unto itself. No one can tell you what to do. You always have a choice. But with that comes a lot of responsibility to choose the harder thing, because the harder thing, the more difficult thing, is usually the right thing. So these acts and these laws and these bills don't necessarily always protect, but because they are written down on vellum, again, the act of writing, the pen is mightier than the sword. If you don't see at this time that all of these things are being proven true, that there was a reason Hitler wanted to burn the books. He did not want prophecy to happen. Think and then feel. Everyone tells you your heart is misleading. I'm going to tell you to follow that right now. Follow your gut. Not to food, not to materialism, not to that stuff. So this is telling us face. It is prohibiting people from using physical force or verbalizing that they will do physical force, threatening people, or obstruction, right? They can't stand in front of the doors. What do you think is going to happen the next time I try to go to church? What did I tell you happened the last time I was at church? I talked about it in the last stream. And everything that happens to me ends up happening on the world stage. God is doing this purposely because I'm a witness. He's putting these things in front of me so I can tell you that's my job. And I didn't want it. I don't want this job. I've lost everything that mattered to me. There's not much I can give up for Lent because I've given up almost everything that matters to me. Please don't stop listening. Just hear me out, please. So this means, for example, that if they want to protest, they can come to the churches. They can prohibit us access to the churches. They can stand in front of the doors of the temples. We can also do the same thing, if we chose, at the satanic temples. Spiritually speaking, with what is already walking upon the earth, the demonic beings, and you know as well as I do, they're here. They would never have put something out like demon syndrome if it wasn't a cover-up. They wouldn't talk about things like that. They don't talk about things like that. But suddenly they're telling you at the Vatican not to believe apparitions and not to, that they're not, that they're suspect, right? Anything supernatural, they're telling you to, kind of dismiss. Don't believe your eyes, basically, is what everyone's telling us at this point. If you're seeing demons, then it's you. You're sick. What? It's always the victim. It's always the witness. It's always the bringer of the message. They always want to shut up truth. And I was the same for a long time when I didn't confess for a while. Like, you don't want to hear certain things because it makes you feel guilty, because it itches that part of your conscience. You don't want to hear it no more. That's why these people end up sometimes persecuting and harming others. So the third part, this is rich. The third part is the intentional damage or destruction of a reproductive healthcare facility or a place of worship. What does this tell us, friends? Many things. As I told you about the wheelhouse, there's always multiple purposes. The first thing they're showing us right there with the FACE Act, it looks like Article 3, if that's what you would call it, I don't know. Item 3, the intentional damage or destruction of a reproductive healthcare facility or a place of worship. It is a place of worship, is what they're telling you. They're telling you those two things are the same. Why would they lump in these things together? Why? If they weren't the same, if they weren't similar. One of these things is not like the other. Because they're saying, okay, if you want safety at your temples, so do we. Because this is a religious act. God, and I participated. This is why I do this. It's penance. I don't want to see other people go through this. But the illumination of conscience has already started. It's not at one time for everybody at the same time. At least it doesn't appear to be. A lot of us are going through it intermittently. It's like waves. It comes in waves where you're confronted with like every wrong that you've done in your whole life, and your life doesn't flash before your eyes. It's like it literally is a 7-year period. And I'm going to read that too. Oh shoot, I don't know. I was so focused on making sure this was working. Okay, so we're going to go to the next part. What are we gonna do, guys? Like, this is rough. What's gonna happen the next time I try to go to church? Last time, somebody tried to bust the door down, and they escorted me out the other way. They didn't think I understood what was happening, and I still can't tell you what happened out there, but they didn't want me to see whatever it was. And I explained all, I go over my testimony, how God is showing me these things. And I told you last year that the confessional seal was not going to be respected, that was not a thing anymore. So, for example, the use of physical force, threat of physical force, or physical obstruction to intentionally injure, intimidate, interfere with, or attempt to injure, intimidate, or interfere with any person who is exercising or trying to exercise their First Amendment right of religious freedom at a place of religious worship. What does this mean, friends? This means the entire book of Daniel is about to come true, because it says that they stopped the sacrifices, and nobody knows what that is yet. Everybody's still looking to some fake Israel stage they show you on the screen. Stopping the sacrifices means stopping the sacrifice of the Mass, the Catholic Mass. Watch who they focus on. This is the time of your salvation, is right now. We are in the book, we are in tribulation. It is the end of an age, but it's not just the Bible. The Hopi prophecy said the same thing, that there was going to be a split off of humanity, that some would follow technology into the literal abyss, and some, a remnant, an offshoot, would go back to the old ways of nature, it says, in summary. So I'm not just spewing Bible and thumping Bible here. That's not what this is about. This is about helping and gathering and love and forgiveness and repentance and doing the right thing and being a proper example for the younger generations and showing them you can change your mind at any time and turn around and go the other way. And I don't want to give people ideas. This means that if I wanted to, I could find myself a satanic temple. I could find myself a Masonic lodge. And I could stand out there and protest with a sign if I wanted to. I could do that. I could go to the courthouse on the 15th, on the day that my alleged son is having this alliance and marrying this woman, because it's not really my son, and I don't know who or what she really is. And that sounds crazy. You're going to say you're crazy. You're just a crazy person. Watch if this is dismantled, what happens. So let me take you to a little piece of news. Let's see if this will go back for us. And let's click on news, shall we? This is why I had to shut everything down yesterday and I could not watch any more of it. And what is really funny too is I thought I was really missing my family and that I just see people I love in people on TV. But even their names are similar. My aunt's husband, who I'm supposed to call uncle even though he's like her third or fourth, Ray. This guy's name is Roy, and they look a lot alike. And the FACE Act has become exactly what it was designed to be, a cudgel to suppress otherwise lawful pro-life activity. Congress should repeal the FACE Act. DOJ backs using abortion lobby's favorite law, FACE Act, against anti-Israel protesters. The Trump administration signaled that a law used to jail pro-life protesters should instead punish those. They're not telling you what's in the act. They're not telling you what's in the act. They're only focusing on the Moloch sacrifices, on their temple sacrifices. And if these sacrifices stop, so will the sacrifice of the mass, because right now they want you having babies. That should scare you. You should ask why they want another baby boom so badly. Have you noticed yet all the blue-eyed people around you? Have you noticed the people who, they're like a Monet painting, they're beautiful from far away, but you get closer up and there's something just not right? Kind of like Madonna, how her face changes every day. Why do they want everybody to have babies so badly? Pro-life is never something that rules. And this is a good thing, right? Pro-life is good. But doing harm to anybody is not a good thing. You shouldn't be allowed to do that anyways, right? I'm sure, I would hope you would still get slapped with an assault charge. But I don't know, would you? As feds drop FACE Act cases in Philly and elsewhere, reproductive health providers worry about escalating violence. Yet they're not telling you. So let's look. Let's do a quick search and see if there's any desecration of churches happening. And then we'll look and see. And that's the thing, when somebody is ended, they don't tell you. When is ended, they don't tell you why, right? Police still don't know what happened. They don't know why. It was someone they knew. They don't ever tell you their religion of that person. Very rarely do they tell you that, unless that person is a Muslim. No offense, because I don't have a problem with Muslims myself. They don't give Christ the time of day. He does not get airtime. That's why I'm telling you, when they tell you somebody's a saint or they're doing some great work and it's on a screen, you should be a little critical of that. Lovely. 13 days. And where is it, guys? Where is it? Ohio. Because didn't I tell you the devil's in Ohio? Told you the Antichrist was here. You don't want to believe me. You just thought I didn't. I lost the plot. Ohio woman commits a shocking bodily function on real church altar. Oh, man. Point. It's not funny, right? So let me just scroll real quick and see where this was. Ohio. Cincinnati. What kind of church was it? Good Samaritan Hospital, and defecated on the altar in May 2023. How much you want to bet she got something real cool from the you know what, the Antichrist? And I don't want to mess anything up. The mic is still working. It looks okay, good. It was just that page. All right, so let's try something else. There we go. Let's look at this. Let's see the most recent one case of this, shall we? 9 days. Anytime. Let's look for past 30 days. Let's look at the past month. 5 days. We're in dire straits. St. Michael's appeals for public support as it plans crypt reopening after arson. Yahoo! Lay Acres Church fire deemed arson. Suspected arsonist still unknown. The Christ at the Crossroad churches. Fire was deemed arson. That's 9 days. North Providence. Arson suspect admits to setting fires at North Providence Church. And they do this. This is what they're going to do. This is, don't you see? Trump was in jail, right? Wore the orange jumpsuit. Now everybody, it's cool. to go to jail and wear the orange jumpsuit. Who else went? The Tate brothers? Who else? Little what's her face? The little activist, even she was jailed and drug off or whatever. It's a it's a Masonic ritual anyway for them. Church arson attacks. Community comes together to help. Following a spate of arson attacks on churches at the weekend has been staggering. All right, so their community is just going through it. They're everywhere. North Providence, we got that guy. St. Nicholas Church, that's a different one, 10 days ago. Do you see yet? They're not all the same, okay? Some of them are duplicates, absolutely. Rockhampton's Oasis Church, after the arson of 2023. The Notre Dame Church, that's when all this kind of started. Can't you see? Do you see it yet? How many more? Keep going. 14 days. Franklin to reopen a church after fire last year. St. Mary's Catholic Church. All right, so let's look and see at this actual article or link, whatever. News. Okay. Let's see what Roy's got to tell us here. Ray, whatever his name is. Oh, hello. Can you guys? Oh, no, please don't do that. Share this tab instead. La di da di da. Can you guys see? Are we good? Awesome, awesome. All right, let's see what they got in store for us, shall we? Now, again, it's about what they don't say. They're all focusing on the Moloch centers. What about the church? What if they're so Christian? What about the church? This removes protection from outside churches and temples, which also means, AKA, that their Moloch buildings they consider to be temples, guys. You get it yet? But the news is not going to cover the church aspect. They're only going to cover that one. It says periods of sometimes volatile pro-life activism with groups in the 80s, such as Operation Rescue and Pro-Life Action Network, organizing large-scale protests in several cities. These advocates, such as the National Organization for Women, tried suing these pro-life activists under various laws, but time after time, they were turned down. Rahm Emanuel once counseled not to let a good crisis go to waste when you can use it to do things you think you could not do before. That's the real story behind the FACE Act. Abortion activists use the distraction of some aggressive pro-life activism to push Congress for legislation that could instead be used to attack and suppress the broader pro-life movement. In 93, Chuck Schumer introduced the FACE Act. Chuck Schumer. And Senator Ted Kennedy did so in the Senate. Each went through 3 iterations as introduced, as revised by the relevant committee, and as passed by each chamber before the House and Senate passed a single version. Look at all those checks and balances, though, that all that stuff had to go through, gang. And people still think that what's happening right now today is normal. I told you we were infiltrated with the Trojan horse years ago. We invite all these migrants, and then we've hurt everyone from all of these. They were running from us, from our military. Did we really? How long did we like they did this on purpose? They wanted this boil to fester for as long as possible. It doesn't have to be this way is the point, though, of my videos. You can change your mind at any time. You always have a choice. How much is it worth to you, your soul? Because at this point, pretty much all of us are sellouts. All of us. Me too. Because I don't know how to live outside. I don't know how to do it. I mean, I could basically do it. Nobody wants to go through that kind of pain. And I'm going to tell you, you're going to go through a different kind anyway. They're going to squeeze everybody until they capitulate. And the solution that they give you is going to look amazing no matter who it is, because we'll have been so purged by that point of luxury and comfort. It's going to happen anyway. And people, just like on the boat, they're trying to climb up on top of other people to hurry up and get in the door, or like the movie where all the zombies are trying to get over the wall. They're stepping on their brothers and sisters to try and buy their way out of this problem and get with the elites. You'll never be like them. They're not like us. You shouldn't want to be like them. No matter what comes, at this point, there is going to be a lot of physical discomfort. And because humans are uncomfortable with change, right? And a lot of people are going to have to make a lot of changes to keep the basics, to keep the roof over their heads. Not everybody, though. No. Again, these people don't deal with money. Money's nothing to them. Sure, they have wealth. Their wealth is land, real estate, and all they got to do is go end somebody if they really want to, or trick somebody into betting their house away, or what have you. There's so many covert things under the surface here that, I mean, I love my country and I love the people in it, right? And I pray for our leaders. But whoever is running things and pulling the strings is wicked. It's wickedness. Okay, so by the time Bill Clinton signed the FACE Act into law in May 94, it was very different from the one Schumer introduced. For instance, the final version prohibits interfering with any person because that person or any other person or class of persons is obtaining or providing reproductive health services. Everyone knows what it means to physically obstruct access to a building, but what does it mean to interfere with a person? Aha. So now you have interpretation. Just like when people try to interpret the Bible on their own instead of going with some type of agreed upon, thing, and they're changing the definitions of things. So what does interfere with a person mean? Does that mean you can't text them while they're there? Does that mean you can't hand them a pamphlet? Does that mean you can't pray for them? What does that mean exactly, to interfere with a person? How does someone interfere with someone else because of what some other group or persons is doing? FACE Act not only imposes criminal penalties for these undefined activities, but it also allows anyone aggrieved by them to sue for an entire menu of damages. The House never held a hearing on the FACE Act, and neither the Senate hearing nor the bill itself gives any indication of what aggrieved means. Here's the problem, though, that again, they're giving you word salad and they're reversing things. I just read it to you. If you actually read it, right? You go to that page again. I don't want anyone to think like I'm lying to you. Hold, please. More. No? Huh. All right. Let's do it again. Let's bottom. 2. That's the part they're leaving out. Or interfere with any person who is trying to exercise their First Amendment right of religious freedom at a place of religious worship, and the intentional damage or destructive of a reproductive facility or a place of worship. They're telling us that a Moloch sacrifice baby ending facility is a religious place of worship, and this also protects both. It protects people who go to church every Sunday, regular everyday people, some of your family and friends, maybe you. It protects people in the mosques. It protects people in the satanic temples. But now they're saying this is not a crime. But wait a second, isn't it a crime to hurt somebody anyways? The intentional damage or destruction of a place of worship prohibits. But isn't that somebody's property anyway? That shouldn't be allowed anyway, right? Why does it need to be a law in the first place? A criminal act is a criminal act, no matter who it's against. Am I right? Aha. There's the rub, isn't it? Do you see yet? I don't know how else to point these things out. All right, so basically, what we have to watch out for in a nutshell, if you go to church, if you are a worshiper at any type of church, if you are religious in any way, shape, or form, you need to be careful and mindful at this point. You need to be cautious, observant of those around you, all things we've already gone over. So, there was something else said yesterday, and I'm going to search that real quick, and then I'm going to bounce back to Daniel, and this video I think will be over, maybe. Well, we might look at something else, unrelated but related. Also remember that there was a water act that was recently changed, and yesterday I told you why. Okay, so let's see. We'll just look in the news tab because, okay, summary of the Clean Water Act. It regulates discharges of pollutants into U.S. waters and controls pollution by means such as wastewater standards for industry, national water criteria. Okay, hold. All right. Again, this is current events and what they have to do with prophecy. This is wormwood, guys. This is wormwood coming to pass. Now, let's look at what they're doing. And I'm going to tell you why they're doing this. And I know why. Briefly yesterday, I'll show you briefly again, and then we'll look at one more thing because he signed a lot of things recently, and they're dismantling. They're telling you they want you to be safe, but they're dismantling every safety measure that we have, and the U.S. standards are already much lower than the UK and Italy and Europe. I know this because my father passed of the big C and I researched it like mad. I worked in healthcare at that time and I also sold cosmetics and I also have children. So I'm careful about the things I put on them. I'm not a doctor. No part of this is medical advice for your own decision making. Use the good brain God gave you and or see the expert of your choice. My disclaimers, as always, are in the description box. But there are no laws anymore, right? Right? Because these guys are lawless and everything's an executive order and we don't follow laws. And oh, you think we should follow laws? Then we're going to silence you because we don't like you and you disagree with us and we behave like schoolyard bullies. Right here. Disgusting. Didn't we go over this about the biblical prophecy as well of in the end days men will be lovers of self and incontinent? We have poo pillows. We have poo emojis. We have grown-ups walking around wearing diapers now. It's regular parts of news stories. Some celebrities. We can't get, I don't know that we can get much lower, but we can. Okay, so why are they dismantling this? Why are they lowering the standards? What's going on with the water, guys? Do you remember? Were you here for yesterday's video? How much water does AI use to answer one query? And again, this is why Musk is the puppet master. A bottle of water per email. The hidden environmental costs of using AI chatbots. And there are a lot of Christians using it. So if you watch them and you are a follower, because I know Christians like we care about this topic. If you're an independent thinker, if you're an environmentalist and this bothers you, if you like your clean water, just pass this around. Please. We can do so much just by staying connected. The water usage of AI models, including ChatGPT, depends on several factors. While early estimates suggested about 500 milliliters, 500, that's a lot. That's not 5 to 50 per 5 to 50 queries. More detailed research shows that only about 15% of that water, now we went over that, flows over the data center. For quantum computing and for AI and for data mining, it takes a lot of electricity and that makes things very hot, like nuclear power. And so you have to cool things off. And the quantum computer itself is very, very, it's kept like a freezer. That should tell you something. Antarctica, why do they go there? The fallen are trapped there. Where's the abyss? Under the water. What temperature is water? It gets colder the deeper that you go. Think, put all these things together. Everything is connected. Every little thing. You know how I found all this out yesterday? I was watching Through a Scanner Darkly, the Philip K. Dick movie or book that was put into a movie with Woody Harrelson and Winona Ryder and Keanu Reeves. I never watched the whole thing. And they mentioned one of these prophecies. And they also mentioned a blue flower. We went over the color blue yesterday. They also mentioned a blue flower that's part of a drug that's really wicked and ends up making people brain damaged. It reminded me a lot of the fentanyl crisis we're seeing now. Fentanyl, which is also blue. Something else that was blue was also the substance that they were making on Breaking Bad. That was blue because his was so special and everybody loved it. Um, and then you have the blue in Maui regarding the fires, how that was kept safe for whatever reason. And then you have blue pill, red pill, right? Take one, you wake up, take the other one, you go back to sleep. For whatever reason, blue is everywhere right now. I just wanted to mention that. Um, ChatGPT's carbon footprint. So the next time they lecture you on your carbon footprint, you should be very irate. Achieving real results. I want to know the truth. And I don't want to know in milliliters because I want to know in like milliliters and all that. All right, I'm going to zoom through this because this one is like having issues loading, and that's just because it's a, what you call it? That looks like a dystopian city, does it not? And it's a computer chip, or part of a motherboard. And yes, I know all about Egypt and the map and what it looks like, and we will talk about that one day about how we might actually be inside a computer. Blah 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 blah. I don't want to read all this. Honestly, I just want to know. I want that one question answered. In a more extreme example, if 1 in 10 Americans, 1 for every 10. See, and again, these numbers are so ridiculous. We got to visualize this, right? Well, how many are in America, right? Use ChatGPT weekly for a year. Jeez. All right. Do I gotta get out of this part because you're making me angry? It would require the amount of water equal to that used by the entirety of Rhode Island for 1.5 days. Wow, that's a lot. Uh, we haven't come to the point yet where AI is tangibly taken away our most essential natural water resources. The use of AI in places with frequent drought has caused rising tension. Yeah, because didn't Musk just leave California, right? What did they do out there? They ruined the place and then they left. Now this is what they do. They're the destroyers. Nothing is going to get better. It's only going to go further and further into a dystopian society. And see, I don't want these vague answers. I want something that us regular laymen can understand. We're going to go back up here. AI consumption examples. Let's look at that. Recent studies have quantified AI's water consumption. ChatGPT usage. A simple query, one question, consumes about half a liter of water on average. Oh my gosh, and I asked like 3 questions of mine. This is due to the energy required for processing the query and cooling the servers. And they want to talk about yours and mine carbon footprint. How much are they using AI? They're going to use AI to replace us, not to give us an easier life. We won't be there won't be enough water if they do this, and the water will go bad because now they're laxing or relaxing that water act. So it is wormwood, guys. Oh my god. It's wormwood, and it's like kind of intentional. They're going to give us worse. They're just going to allow this to happen, right? They're going to make it okay. Like, hey, we have to make this legal because this is the only kind of water we got now. Why does AI require water? Is it a living, breathing entity? And if it is in some way, then morally speaking, we are in even deeper doo-doo than we realize. Okay, so we looked up the air. Now let's look at something else that Trump said yesterday. Oh my gosh, there's so much. Okay, so Trump executive order eliminate. You're not going to believe this. He actually said this. Wait, what was it? What word did it was a weird word. Was it lawful? Practice of law. I can't remember. Hold on. We'll see what he said. Somebody will bring it up. Just do it. No. No. He used the strangest word to overturn existing law. Employment but signals that federal contractors won't have the same obligation to protect. Exactly. He's going to, and I told you this was going to happen too. They're going to replace all the police officers that we have now, make you hate them, which they've already done. You're going to beg for them to be replaced, and they're going to be replaced, but with something worse. Private contractors don't have to follow the laws, guys, and often don't. This is why there are so many different branches that are attached to the government but aren't of the government, like the CIA and FBI, because they can bet it's okay for them to bend laws for some reason. Everybody else has to follow them. It's just so lame. Like, I just can't believe this. He did. Hold on. Just let me. Lawful. What did he say? He already did that. We know he did that. Law. Oh my gosh. Practice of. Dude, it was really creepy that nobody said anything. Like, I watched the clip. It was him. He did so much. Whoops. I didn't type that right, but that's okay. Basically, what he's doing is he's going after his enemies. I shared it on my own tab on my Fiddle DD on my YouTube tab. Hold please. I'm gonna look at my because this one was creepy. I didn't like it. It wasn't. He was going after his enemies. Basically, he said he didn't want this to ever be able to be done again because it had happened to him. But he's going after first specific law firms. Okay, specific law firms. Like you can't get any more conflict of interest than that. Hold on, I'm looking for it. To end lawfare. Okay, that's what it is. To end lawfare, guys. What does that mean? If you eliminate lawfare, you're going to eliminate laws. So could President Trump's sanctioning of law firm that aided Jack Smith backfire and help the prosecutor dodge? Boy, this is just wild to me. Share this tab instead. And I think it was Forbes. I have it right here. Is it Forbes? It is Forbes. This is an absolute honor to sign, he said. Trump signs executive orders on. Hold, please. I'm going to click on it because my bad. Right. It means he doesn't want to be subject to the checks and balances vital to upholding our democracy. I mean, it's not a democracy, it's a republic. To eliminate lawfare, what's it actually called? What is the... Let's punch up Forbes. That way you guys can read with me and see exactly what I'm saying. Yeah, and that guy says, I think what you propose is a false dichotomy. I'm not talking about, again, I'm trying to make this bare bones for all of us to look at. When you play chess, you're not supposed to look at the move you're making right now. You're supposed to look at the whole board and where you're going to take each character, right? You should be able to visualize 5, 6 moves ahead what you're going to do. Now, you don't want to get into the point where you're just like doing patterns, like repeated patterns, the same game over and over, because then you're predictable and your enemy will always know what you're going to do. I know somebody that plays like that. He didn't used to play that. Well, yeah, he kind of did. All right, let's see. No, it's not that one. Come on, guys, it's your own headline. Right there. No, Trump's New York lawfare backfires. Democratic lawfare failed against. What is this word, lawfare? Democratic lawfare. Like, it's law, right? What is lawfare? Come on, Forbes, you're killing me here. Past 24 hours. I just shared it yesterday. Oh, jeez. Microsoft Bing, you're ridiculous. All right, hang on. I'm going to just do this. Because again, I don't want you guys to think I'm just like making things up or whatever. Okay, so he says this is an absolute honor to sign. Trump signs executive orders on weaponization of law firms, I think. Lawfare. In the Oval Office, President Trump signed executive orders pertaining to combating weaponization and law firms. So he's first, if you watch the video, and I will include it in the link, it is on my YouTube page. If you actually watch it, he says what an honor it is. He said, he doesn't want anyone else to go through it because he had to. Very false humility there, just not good. So we looked at the water and how that's going to be wormwood. So real quickly, let's go to that verse to see what it says. Exactly. And I told you this was coming. I've been showing you my water filter and my little tinctures and the bottles and stuff. I want the actual verse. Can you just give it to me? Just open it up. And you give me all these. Oops. That's why. Jeez, Jen. All right. Revelation 8:10 to 11. Revelation 8:11. So let's go back to our copy of the Bible over there. My bad, I gotta bring that up for you guys and share it. I wanted to close a couple things that way. There we go. All right, now let's see what it says about how good it matches, or if it doesn't match. All right, we looked at this one. We'll come back to this. I wanted to have two up, but all right. It should be Revelation. There we go. And the name of the star is called Wormwood. And the third part of the waters became wormwood, and many men died of the waters because they were made bitter. A lot of people think that this is a star falling from the sky, or a meteor. So can we go to the whole? There we go. And the second angel sounded, and as it were, a great mountain burning with fire was cast into the sea. And the third part of the sea became blood. We're seeing that happen now. Although they have not told us of one of the volcanoes. And again, when prophecy starts occurring, it's only going to be us that are showing it, or it'll be an act of God if we see it on a screen. So you need to pay attention with your eyes, ears, and hands, your physical senses, to what's going on around you. Is it really this wicked? Is it really this bad? Is this happening now? What's happening in your area? Is your water safe? But just be aware that these things are legitimately occurring, and we can at least gain wisdom from these ancient texts and the people who came before us. It is folly not to listen to wisdom. And the third part of the creatures which were in the sea and had life died, and the third part of the ships were destroyed. And the third angel sounded, and there fell a great star from heaven, burning as it were a lamp, and it fell upon the third part of the rivers. Meaning, basically, there will only be a little bit left, that's decent. And upon the fountains of waters, and the name of the star is called Wormwood, and the third part of the waters became wormwood. So here's the thing, though. God says that the stars will, they will never lose their, He set them up there, and they will never they will never transgress. But then we hear that they fall because sometimes angels are related to as stars. There are certain ones that are fixed, I believe, and certain ones that are angels, angelic, the plasma beings that we see. I can't tell you if for certain all of these things have occurred. I can only say I don't think it's all in chronological order. And what I mean by that is, like, if you go to like Revelation 8 and then you go to Revelation 9, there's going to be some overlap. There's going to be some things happening at the same time. And things are going to look different than we thought they were going to look, truly. So the first thing happens because of a great mountain burning with fire is cast into the sea. So that sounds like it qualifies for a volcano. I don't know any other kind of mountain that burns with fire. As or a great mountain burning with fire was cast into the sea. Okay. Now we are seeing the blood thing, but again, it's only on the screen. And again, I know that several years ago, like I don't know if it was 2012 or 2015, like 16, 17. This had all started back then too, when there were those martyrs, and actually the 10th anniversary of those martyrs just came up. The Orthodox Christians, I think there was 21 of them. 21, how interesting is that? But again, all these things are happening. Oh heavens, and I had watched something else that mentioned the book of Daniel yesterday as well. And that's where I got this, which was talking about how he will come upon the earth and he will do things, but he will do things, and it won't be of his own power that these things are occurring. because they're legion, because they can get into one being and then another and then another and then another, and it continues, on and on and on and on. So it says the name of the star is called Wormwood, and the third part of the waters became wormwood. The name of the star is called what? What is wormwood? Toxin, toxic, poison. You can do a study on it through the Strongs. I would recommend it. I've done it before. I'm not going to do it in this video, mainly because I want it to be, again, user-friendly and accessible to those who don't want to hang out forever and ever here. But I look at this stuff in my private time, and you should as well. It is very helpful to the days and times that we are living in right now. And many men died of the waters because they were made bitter. The waters were made bitter. And the fourth angel sounded, and the third part of the sun was smitten. So that would be after this. The third part of the moon and the third part of the stars. Smitten, smote out, turned off, turned out, hidden sometimes. Because how do you lose a third of the moon, a third of the sun? How do you do that? And a third of the part of the stars. So as the third part of them was darkened, and the day shone not for a third part of it, and the night likewise. And that gets back to the fallen angels. That's kind of poetic, it's kind of parabolic, but it's also literal. So again, you have to go deep. The third part of them was darkened, the third of the fallen angels. And the day shone in the third part of the stars, so as the third part of them was darkened. So that again, it means literally in this day, a third of the star's light will shut down, be shut out. But it also means literally that a third of the angels went dark. They were fallen. Okay. And the day shone not for a third part of it, and the night likewise. And I beheld and heard an angel flying through the midst of heaven, saying with a loud voice, Woe, woe, woe to the inhabitants of the earth, by reason of the other voices of the trumpet of the three angels, which are yet to sound. Reason of the other voices of the trumpet of the three angels, which are yet to sound. So again, I think some of these things are going to overlap. You have people showing videos of hearing trumpets. I know that my son and I heard something in 2017. To me, it sounded like something was above us. It almost sounded like a part of the firmament opening or a garbage truck up there. It just sounded like grinding, like metal grinding against metal. It was cool, but scary at the same time because you're like, well, what is it? Like, what is that? And it was overcast, so we couldn't see what it was. All right. Is this it? He wants to end warfare. Exactly what that means, or lawfare. Exactly what that means basically is he's going after everybody who who came after him. Everybody who was part of the litigations and everybody suing him and everybody impeaching him, he's going after those law firms, and he's saying it's because he doesn't want the law to be able to be weaponized. But that's what he's doing, guys. He's a hypocrite. And Musk is the puppeteer. Are they the actual Antichrist? No. It's like the friggin' Russian dolls. It's still somebody behind them too, I think. Again, they have to tell everybody today. They're waiting on those emails or replies back from the federal employees. If they do not receive those, which they'll say they didn't, whether they do or not. Now, here's the thing, guys. This has already happened. These people have been getting together for the last several years while we were on lockdowns, and they were getting together and planning all this stuff out. Now that it's finally planned, and again, they don't know what they're doing. Number one, because some of these beings have not been here for a long time. And number two, some of the beings doing this are quite literally children. This is why everything looks so insane. Because they're young and inexperienced, and they don't understand how the system is meant to operate. And they've been misled by wicked and evil and dark adults who absolutely knew what they were doing. I know that I'm forgetting something because I do every video and I'm trying to remember it, because you have to understand these things come upon me so quickly, and then I get confirmation for it, and it kind of rocks my world. Like I'm rather weak right now. I could definitely use prayer. Um but this is my job. This is what I'm here to do. So this is what I'm going to do. It is my penance, especially if I help to create the Antichrist in some way, shape, or form, even if it was meant to happen. And if my family is this messed up that they would gaslight me to the point where I question my whole reality. And again, it's not possible because it's happening in the public, the things that happened to me first. They went behind, they tried to get rid of, basically, they've already tried to get rid of most of the people who would be non compliant. And people like me who know their own sovereignty and consent, that's why they're dismantling these laws. So that so that spiritually, legally, they're legalists. They're Pharisees, guys, Sadducees. And the Pharisees, I've already proven, were demonic. They had demons, or they literally were demons, because when Christ wrote in the sand and drew a line, they could not cross it. That's what you call some healthy, holy power that Christ carried with him, obviously. I know I'm forgetting something. Shoot, was it a headline, Jen? What was it? I did the AI and I went off on that, and it was something that that had to do with Daniel. Can I go back to Daniel? One more. There he is. Okay. So we're gonna go and vision I lifted up my eyes. Da da da. Now 8 is where I was. Daniel 8:23 is where I was meant. We're gonna start at 8 right there, yeah. Therefore the he goat waxed very great, and when he was strong, the great horn was broken, and for it came up 4 notable ones toward the 4 winds of heaven. So the great horn gets broken, and from that you then have 4. Okay, and out of one came them forth a little horn, which waxed exceeding great toward the south, and toward the east, and toward the pleasant land. And it waxed great even to the host of heaven, and it cast down some of the hosts and of the stars to the ground, and stamped upon them. Yea, he magnified himself even to the prince of the host, and by him the daily sacrifice was taken away, and the place of his sanctuary was cast down. Daily sacrifice is taken away. Now, in my physical Bible, hang on, I don't want to make too much noise and I don't want to move. I don't want to rock the boat, guys. I have my older physical book. And it's not too much different, but just let me. This is where Gabriel interprets. Oh, heaven's sakes. This is Daniel 8:20. Do I want to go there? All right. Duration of the desolation. This is chapter 8. We're starting at 13, and it's described as duration of the desolation. 8:13, is that where we're at? Yeah, kind of. Let's go down a little. And mine is like broken up so like you can understand what is happening here. That's why there's that little title. So, duration of the desolation, 8:13. And I heard one of the saints speaking, and one saint said to another, I know not whom that was speaking. How long shall be the vision concerning the continual sacrifice and the sin of the desolation that is made, and the sanctuary and the strength be trodden under foot? And he said to him, unto evening and morning, 2,300 days, and the sanctuary shall be cleansed. So that's a different prophecy that most people don't pay attention to. Unto evening, and now the footnote in my Bible says, unto evening and morning, 2,300 days, i.e., that means 6 years and almost 4 months, which was the whole time from the beginning of the persecution of Antiochus till his death. Tribulation, whether it be in your personal private life or on the world stage, seems to last for 7 years. Joseph was told to plan for 7 years to house enough grain to in the communal storefront to have enough for 7 years. It's almost always 7 years. All right, so let's continue. This is the angel Gabriel speaking to Daniel. This is 15. And it came to pass, when I, Daniel, saw the vision and sought the meaning, that behold, there stood before me as it were the appearance of a man. This is Gabriel looking like a man, the angel Gabriel. And I heard the voice of and I heard the voice of a man between you lie, and he called and said, Gabriel, make this man to understand the vision. And he came and stood near where I stood. And when he was come, I fell on my face trembling. And he said to me, understand, O Son of Man, for in the time of the end the vision shall be fulfilled. And when he spoke to me, I fell flat on the ground, and he touched me and set me upright. And he said to me, I will show thee what things are to come to pass in the end of the malediction, for the time hath its end. Gabriel interprets Daniel's vision. Okay, so 20. And then we'll end this video. I don't like to leave people hanging in the middle of like prophecy and whatnot. Because this will also help us. Things don't look like we think they're going to look, and we all don't relate to Old English and how it's written, right? And so I try to go over a couple of different comparisons, analogies, or versions, even, different versions so everyone can understand, hopefully, right? So Gabriel interprets Daniel's vision, 8:20. The ram which thou sawest with horns is the king of the Medes and the Persians, and the he-goat is the king of the Greeks. The he-goat who's the king of the Greeks? Is that a Greek president? Is it an actual Greek king? And the great horn that was between his eyes, the same is the first king. But whereas when that was broken, meaning before, when he was talking about this and how his horn broke, there arose up four for it. 4 kings shall rise up of his nation. So again, this isn't a whole nother prophecy. This is Gabriel telling Daniel what it means. So he has better understanding, and so he's not in fear, okay? So oftentimes you have to read things in context. You have to understand that they will repeat things to make sure they're understood, right? Oftentimes, editing is I don't like editing. It's deceptive. It's misleading. It's misleading people right now. I gave you the example using Ariana Grande. Everyone's saying, oh, she's a witch. Well, she was talking about her movie and what she's acting as. Now, is she a witch? Probably, absolutely. But still, that doesn't change the fact that editing is highly deceptive. And what I try to do here is to convey that it's vital that we have media literacy, especially in a time of propaganda that compares to the Stasi and the Nazi and the communist regimes all over the world in the worst time of human history. Sorry, I got a little passionate there. I apologize. Okay. But whereas when that was broken, the horn, so from one horn broken, there arose up 4 kings, basically. I think that means one nation broke apart. So then 4 rose from that. So 4 kings that's what the 4 means, 4 kings. So he's not telling you 4 more things. He's saying that means 4 kings. So shall rise up of his nation, but not with his strength. What does that mean? Not with his strength. It will be the strength of Satan. It'll be the strength of this, he is the son of perdition. It won't be his own strength. It'll be Satan giving it to him. And after their reign, when iniquity shall be, and furthermore, he'll have other people do his dirty work, basically, because that's how they all operate. I told you they have no honor, none. And after their reign, when iniquity shall be grown up, meaning when iniquity shall come to fullness, right? When iniquity shall grow up, where are we at? 23. And through his policy is, so you see where they get a little different. When the transgressors are come to full, a king of fierce countenance and understanding dark sentences shall come up. Okay. And after, now what mine says is, and mine is older, and after their reign, when iniquities shall be grown up, and that means the same thing, when they come to fruition, there shall arise a king of a shameless face, meaning he has no shame, that he's right, and an understanding of the dark sentences, meaning the dark arts, meaning dark prophecies. And his power shall be strengthened, but not by his own force. And he shall lay all things to waste, and he shall prosper and do more than can be believed. Aren't people always asking Elon, how do you do so much, man? How are you doing so much? How are you doing so much? He's not, because most of it's lies. I told you those are proxies anyway. And he shall destroy the mighty and the people of the saints, according to his will, and craft shall be successful in his hand. And his heart shall be puffed up, and in the abundance of all things he shall kill many. And he shall rise up against the prince of princes, and shall be broken without hand. And the vision of the evening and the morning which was told is true. Thou therefore seal up the vision, because it shall come to pass after many days. Now, if you want, we could also look up Lawless One if you need more proof that we are looking at the Antichrist and his cronies. We're just not actually seeing his countenance and his face, because everybody's worshiping the image that he's given them to worship in this new, humbled, meek, mild-mannered Trump. But I proved, I believe, without a doubt, that certain things are religions, that the Moloch ending centers are religious temples. And on that note, I hope you all stay wise. I might see you again today.